Okay, we come back to Hamlet's scene 1, Act 5, and I'm not going to take much time. Sorry for the interruption here. Zoom is not helping us to go beyond 40 minutes. Okay, I want you to look at the extract here. Now, Hamlet, there is an encounter between Hamlet and the gravedigger. I want two people to read. I want one to be Hamlet and one to be the first clown, the gravedigger. And to tell me what.
Yes, Hamlet.
Khalid and
me.
Okay, go on, please.
That skull had a tongue in it and could sing once. How
No.
the knave jowls.
No,
Oh, where is
Somewhere.
this?
Khalid, we are line 120.
120. I think it be thine, indeed, for thou liest in it.
No, Khalid. Start with Hamlet asking whose graves this, sir? Line 20.
120.
Whose grave this, sir?
Mine, sir. Oh, a bit of clay for to be made, for such a guest as me.
I think it be thine, indeed, for thou liest in it.
You lie out on it, sir, and therefore it is not yours. For my part, I do not lie in it, and yet it is mine.
Thou dost lie in it, to be in it and say it is thine. 'Tis for the dead, not for the quick, therefore thou liest.
It is a quick lie, sir. 'Twill away again from me to you.
What man dost thou dig it for?
For no man, sir.
What woman then?
For none, neither.
Who is to be?
One that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead.
Okay, so the first encounter here, remember how Hamlet was making fun of people all the time?
Yeah, because
Funny.
playing mad.
King, the woman, his wife, all the women in the text, Ophelia, his mother, and also making fun of Polonius all the time, punning and playing on the words. And now this is the time for payback. This is somebody who's a nobody, a just gravedigger, who's kind of using the same game that Hamlet uses all the time. He's playing with words. He's using.
But he has a point.
Of course, he has a point. But the thing is that with the too many puns here, the person who was doing this in the previous act was Hamlet. This is his game. And I think Hamlet is enjoying this because finally he finds somebody who could, probably duel with him. Now, I'm not sure. Personally, I like puns. I like my friends who like puns. And I feel annoyed when my friends don't like puns or don't understand puns. So I think this is something very interesting, very refreshing for Hamlet. So when he says, whose grave is this? He said, mine. And Hamlet says, you lie, you don't tell the truth. It's mine because I'm digging it, so it's mine. And Hamlet's question was clear, who's going to be buried? But the man is playing the word. And then Hamlet says, you lie, and you're not telling the truth. And the man says, yes, I am lying in it. I am in it. I am inside this. And then Hamlet says, and they're talking about lying and quick lie and alive. And then it gets confusing here. I'm sure this is going to be hilarious to the audience. And then Hamlet asks the question, rephrases the question. See, this man is probably being more powerful than Hamlet. He's giving the answers. He makes Hamlet clarifies himself here. What dost thou dig it for? For no man. What man dost thou dig it for? For no man. What woman then? For none neither. And then Hamlet like, who's going to be buried in it? And then one that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead. She is no more. I want you to go again to YouTube and watch this and see how hilarious this is. The comic relief is fascinating. The exchange here between Hamlet and this uneducated person is fascinating. Hamlet, even because we'll talk about his friend Horatio in a bit and see how this is a little bit different. Now, the gravedigger reminds Hamlet in their speech later on of Hamlet's father's heroism when he was triumphant over Fortinbras and won the war. The gravedigger has outlived both of those kings. Now, he gives Hamlet a skull. We'll see the skull, but we're going to discuss it next class. Yorick, who has been dead for 23 years. And Yorick is old Hamlet's jester. He's the fool, you know, the entertainer, the comedian. And he's Hamlet's childhood companion. Hamlet spent so much time with him. We'll read the extract. The gravedigger is not speaking poetry, remember? He speaks prose. And he is also playing Hamlet's most favorite game, which is play on words and puns, etc. Now, the dialogue continues between Hamlet and the gravedigger in yet an interesting give and take here, where again he talks about he mocks England here. Hamlet pretends to be somebody else, and then he asks him that because the man says, "Young Hamlet, since young Hamlet was born, I got my job," and he says, "He," if you look at line 154, probably, "he that is mad and sent to England." And Hamlet says, "Why was he sent to England? Why? Because he was mad. He shall recover his wits there." He went there. He went there. He goes there for recovery. He is in England to be treated there, to get out of his insanity, to come back to his senses. Okay? Or, he says, look at this. Very funny. If he doesn't, look at, again, Khalid pointed this out just now. They usually keep dropping the S for the drown and the and do. If he does not recover, if he doesn't come back a sane person, it is no great matter there. So if Hamlet is in England to recover from his madness, but if he doesn't recover, it's going to be fine. Nobody is going to notice. Hamlet says, why? Again, he says, it will not be seen in him there. There, the men are as mad as he is. And again, even now, like 400 years later, I crack every time I watch this or read this, because this is Shakespeare. This is Hamlet. This is Shakespeare making fun of all the English people. Remember, the audiences in the globe were all English, almost all English. They were British people, English people. So with this exchange, with people from Denmark making fun of the English people, they must have been really, really hilarious. This, again, Ahmed is saying here in the comment section that this is probably the best scene so far. It is, in many ways, a very light scene. It's a very significant scene in the way it mixes life and death, fun and tragedy, comedy and tragedy, and many other things. So laughing and joking in a grave, we said this is a disturbingly happy person here. The scene is disturbing and at the same time it's interesting. Mocking England and criticizing England is a constant in Shakespeare. He does this all the time. I'm quoting your book here. The gravedigger tells Hamlet that the prince has been sent to England to recover his wits. However, he says, in England, no one will notice the prince's madness because the English are all witless themselves. They are crazy. This line surely garnered significant laughter from Shakespeare's English audience. And now we'll move to Horatio's replies. So far, Horatio, again, is accompanying, he must have met him when he came back from England after he read the letter. And now I quoted many of Horatio's replies and exchanges with Hamlet. I want you to take a minute or half a minute and tell me what you think. You can either write this down, or and Khalid is saying the first clown is now my favorite character. Okay, and I like to call him a gravedigger. By the way, he's funny. He's a clown. He's an entertainer, a comedian. He's a gravedigger. He makes graves. So, what do you think of Horatio's replies? This is driving me crazy, but anyway. Okay, so what do you think? Somebody typed something there. Muhammad al-Hartani is saying Horatio is submissive as usual. Interesting. Anybody else? What do you think of Horatio's replies? Other than, so Khalid described, Muhammad described Horatio as submissive and said as usual. What else?
My lord.
What does that indicate?
I don't know, but Hamlet, at the first of the play, at the beginning of the play, asked him to treat him naturally, neutrally, without.
Thank you for reminding me of this. I almost forgot that. So he says, "My lord." He keeps saying, "How many my lords here?" By the way, this is not everything he said. I just selected some of these. How many my lords here? My lord, my lord, my lord, my lord. Oh, almost all of them. It's too bad I didn't notice that. And this is just, again, some extracts. Abdullah is saying he's a yes man. He sees Hamlet as a higher rank. What else? These are very short replies. Thank you very much, Nermin Barnoj. Excellent. They're very short, very brief, very laconic. He doesn't want to talk much. And this is his friend. He sent you a letter from the seas. Of course, and this is, again, this is something I noticed even before. Why is Shakespeare giving these very short, very brief lines to Horatio? Of course, if Horatio spoke as Hamlet's friend, the play could have gone to like 5,000 lines, could have been crazy. But again, there could be a way around this. So Horatio remains.
I don't know, but I feel that.
Go on.
I feel that he's fed up. I feel that he's fed up with Hamlet, like all the time blabbering about what he's gonna do, and he doesn't do anything. So maybe he's just bored or fed up, or I don't know. Just like okay, yes, okay.
So he's just trying to keep company, saying as little as possible. But even before that, when he asked him about how the play impacted King Claudius, he was like, yes, well, he wasn't, again, affirming, giving confirmation to Hamlet. He was like, he wasn't silent, and at the same time wasn't giving him a definite answer. Is this something about him? Remember, he is the same person who said, I do in part believe. So this is a man who doesn't believe in absolutes because he's a scholar, but with his friend Hamlet, treating him as his lord, always respecting him as a king, as a prince, not treating him as a friend. I don't know. I want you to really think of this, Horatio's role in the whole play and his development. I think I describe him as a flat character. He doesn't change. Ahmed says, I think that he became no longer a friend. I don't think he is no longer a friend, but he's not being the friend we want. Remember, when you are in need, you want a friend to stand, to talk to you. The most important thing about friends is that they should listen to us, they should talk to us, they should give advice. But again, is it because Hamlet is talkative, he talks, Horatio talks less? Is it because Hamlet never listens to us? I remember he said, don't go, my lord, and he went to talk to the ghost. So probably he's fed up. I don't think he is no longer a friend, but maybe he's He's fed up with Hamlet's philosophizing and talking. But again, who has a friend who is perfect? None of us. We all have friends who are imperfect in their own way. So I described Horatio as a flat character. He doesn't change. He definitely remains loyal to Hamlet. He clearly does everything so that not to offend Hamlet, how being with him, keeps respecting him. And I think, like Abdullah said, he is some kind of a yes man. But again, think about what these short, laconic replies tell about Hamlet. And Tasneem is saying he is like a tail. Like a tail, do you mean tail? L-T-A-I-L? Okay, possible, using the Arabic. Now, one last point here is he's talking about Hamlet and death. In this scene, Hamlet again talks about death, but in a very different way, not like before. Remember, before, death was the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns. How death was something that is fascinating. There's something that even thinking about it makes him pause, makes him speechless, makes his hair stand on end. Now Hamlet here talks about how death is kind of normalizing death, and this is again Shakespeare pushing Hamlet, developing Hamlet. Hamlet talks about here, for example, about the graves, those skulls here that are scattered. He says this could be the skull of a lawyer or the skull of a great buyer of land, and it makes no difference at all. We are all going to end up here the same. And then he talks about Alexander the Great. Remember before he mentioned how man is a piece of work, how man is great, how like in apprehension, how like a god. And now he talks about two of the greatest people ever, Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar, and how both of them, despite their greatness, despite what they did to humanity, they ended up dead, and we are all going to end up like those people. He said, after lines 220, Alexander died, Alexander was buried, Alexander returned into dust. The dust is earth. Of earth we make loam. Loam means mud. So look at this. This is the circle of life. This great man died, and his body turned into dust, into earth, and this earth was used as mud of loam, where two has converted, might they not to stop a beer barrel. So we use the mud to just close holes here and there. And the same thing applies, but this is in a very interesting singing. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back. I don't know why this keeps disconnecting. Are you there? Type something if you are online. I don't know why this keeps disconnecting.
All of us.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm not going to take much time, just continue this point. So what we see here is that Hamlet is talking about how this is the great leveler. We're all going to die, no matter how great we are. So he speaks about how Alexander the Great is going to turn into mud to be used to close holes, to stop holes. And even Julius Caesar, the greatest emperor of the Roman Empire, dead and turned to clay, might stop a hole to keep the wind away. Oh, that earth which kept the world in awe, that earth, that body, his body when he was alive, he kept the whole world in awe, terrified the whole world, conquered the whole world, should patch a wall to expel the wind's flow. But now he turns into dust, the dust turns into mud, and we use the mud to close the holes in our walls. Remember, this is different from the Hamlet we've seen before. So what's going on here? Hamlet's demeanor is in stark, here, we'll fix this, is in stark, or stands, sorry, in stark contrast to his earlier dark, cynical self. Here he is, for him, death is a normality. Probably he is submissive now. He's submitted to fate, to life, to his fate, or he has chosen, he's decided what to do. Death is the grand, the great leveler. We're all going to die. The skull, the bones scattered here and there could be of a lawyer or of a great land buyer. It's all the same. And then we'll see even Yorick later on, the gesture, the comedian, he's dead. No jokes, no funny comebacks, nothing. Even Alexander the Great. Now Hamlet or Shakespeare is normalizing death to prepare us for what to come. And look at this fascinating reply statement here. To what base uses we may return, Horatio. Horatio, to what base? Base means nothing, trivial things. To what base uses we may return. We're going to die. We're going to be forgotten. We're going to become mud, to be used here, dust, to be blown by the wind, perhaps. So death is now to Hamlet an inevitable reality. You can't escape death, and you can't run away. Hamlet has been appalled and revolted by the moral corruption of the living in Denmark. Denmark is a prison, and somebody else said Denmark, something is rotten with the state of Denmark. So Hamlet was appalled by this. But now he's equally fascinated by the universality and physical corruption and the decay of the dead. The dead are going to decay. Their bodies are going to decompose. If Alexander the Great, look at this interesting point, Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar themselves ended up like Yorick, the jester, the comedian, then what is the value of great reputation? Man indeed is the quintessence of dust. Hamlet here asked Horatio about Alexander the Great. Could it be that even Alexander the great military genius, the brilliant leader who looks and smells like Yorick, the court jester, the comedian, if this is the fate of every man, then what is life but a journey into dust? Death eliminates differences between people. The hierarchical structure of society is illusory and ultimately crumbles into dust, just like these bones that could be to anybody. Now, I'll give you my question for this session, and I want you to say what you want to say if you have ideas or opinions. Now, in the book, it says that here the gravedigger tells the prince that he has been a gravedigger since the day that old Hamlet killed old Fortinbras. It's the same year that Hamlet was born. So this timeline gives, and Hamlet played with Yorick. We'll see this inshallah next week. Probably he was 6, 5, 7. So Hamlet is 30. Although most actors play him as young, around 20, 22, 23. Some people think this is something wrong with the play. Shakespeare is not being consistent. We have a very young Hamlet, a university student. He grew up, he became a teenager, 19, 20 years old, and then he went to university. But now in Act 5, he's presenting us with a more mature Hamlet, somebody who is around 30. So the question is, I want you to think about this. Why does the play give the impression that there are two Prince Hamlets, one young and one old? Where does the change happen? Why? Or is it a mistake by Shakespeare? And please don't tell me it's a mistake by Shakespeare, because don't take the safe, the road that everybody would tread. And again, these questions are optional. You don't have these, are not homework, they're not assignments. Just think about them because they could be interesting in a way. So now, please, everybody, if you have any idea, if you want to write something down, Write it down, I'll read it. But if you want to say something, please do. Who wants to speak?
I want to say something about this.
Okay, quick, Khalid.
Back to when the first clown was talking to Hamlet. I think he doesn't know that he's talking to Hamlet. He's telling him about Hamlet, and he doesn't know that he's talking to Hamlet. Am I right or what?
The gravedigger.
The first clown, yeah, he's
They
telling
don't.
him
Yeah, they
Hamlet
don't.
was
Because he said the day Hamlet was born, I became a gravedigger. Hamlet that is now.
okay, but this is like there is a gap here. You said that Hamlet is known for all the masses and all people know him, and now Gravedigger doesn't know him.
True, that's true. That's true. But again, he's a gravedigger. He hears about Hamlet. He knows Hamlet. He doesn't know how he looks. Yeah, there could be, but I think this is a simple answer. But yeah, there could be, if Hamlet is famous, is loved by everybody, why doesn't this man recognize him? Or maybe Hamlet was disguising because he came back from, England, etc. But I think it's just a simple answer. Just he doesn't know Hamlet.
And he should have known him because Hamlet, of course, was on the funeral of his father, since this Gravedigger was the same when old Hamlet.
Don't go there.
Yeah.
Don't go there. Don't waste your time just thinking about this. So you could either say, yes, there's something wrong with Shakespeare here, simply, or you just find, suspend your disbelief, like Coleridge would recommend you. Yeah, somebody's writing here, suspension of disbelief. Somebody else other than Khalid? Thank you, Khalid. You wrote something that I like very much. Death, remember when his father was recently dead, everybody was like, Hamlet, calm down. It's just, he just died. And when his mom said, it's common, everybody's going to die like the king said, he was very angry. He insulted her, he insulted him. He didn't take it simply, but now death is a normality. Somebody saying, I don't know why I remembered Ozymandias after reading. Thank you. I like it when you link texts. Percy Shelley's Bashar says she remembers Percy Shelley's Ozymandias when she reads this part. The idea that everything will end, whatever it was, no matter what it is. I like this. You can find a lot of similarities. This is the archetypal image of decay, of death. We are all going to do. Ahmed Abul Jidian asked a question. Ahmed, the question says, in the play, you feel that in acts 1, 2, 3, and 4, we have Hamlet who's young, who's your age, around 20. But why is it in act 5, the last act, we have Hamlet who is about 30 years old? Is there something wrong with the play? Some people say yes. It's some of the inconsistencies, some of the holes, like some of you suggested right now. Or does Shakespeare want to tell us something? I want you to think about it. Somebody wants to comment, wants to add something other than the exams, Nermeen? We're not doing exams here. Somebody, you can type, you can always type. Okay, do you want to stop? Mashi. We have Maram saying, until now, I can't see any clear evidence that prove that describes the all of human being. I think we'll come to Yurik. Okay, I messed up the thing. I can't see any clear evidence that prove that Ophelia committed suicide. No, in the first lines, it says that she's going to be given a Christian burial despite the fact that she killed herself. And later on, we're going to have more evidence. So you go back again and read the first 2 pages of the scene between the two gravediggers. They talk about it. It could be that Shakespeare wants to see how Hamlet took too much time. Okay, so it's like taking too much time to take revenge. That's a very interesting point, Tasneem. Al-Hartani says Shakespeare underestimates a poor person, but this is not a matter of stigmatizing. Rather, it is part of Shakespeare's being realistic. Mashi, Al-Hartani is defending Shakespeare. I know Shakespeare would be proud of you. Abdurrahman says, because if he will be 20 till the end of the play, it will never, ever end. Okay. If this is a TV show, I really want somebody to turn Shakespeare's life into a TV show of like, I don't know, of 100 episodes. And in each, like, and every 3-4 of these episodes, or every season, we have Shakespeare working on a particular play where we see the actors come to life. Oh, I wish I have $200 billion. I could just buy myself a studio and have this done. Maybe some of you will become rich as Jeff Bezos of Amazon, and then we can do it together. So Horatio, Eduard says, Horatio replies, similar to Ophelia, thank you. Thank you. I like it when you connect characters and texts. Yeah, similar to Ophelia to her father, to her brother, and to Shakespeare, to Hamlet. Ahmed says, I think he wants to highlight that he became educated. Do you mean he became more mature? يعني فهم الحياة قصدك يا أحمد, rather than educated at university. He became more experienced, I would say, definitely. طيب, I'll give you one more minute to anybody wants to say something or to comment? Anyway, thank you very much. I'm sorry I took too much time. We have been disconnected several times. We'll continue the discussion online, the Facebook group, and let me know what you think about this. Okay? Khalid is asking about the presentation. I want you to prepare a presentation for next class and see how we can do it. Ahmed is for the classes to come. We'll see how things are going to go. Ahmed Sheikh Khalil is going to do one next class, and we'll take it from there. We'll see how it goes. If it goes fine, we can push you to do a presentation. If it doesn't work fine, we'll find a way around this. Because usually there will not be midterm exams due to the circumstances. If there are no midterm exams, we'll do our best to divide the marks so you can take them easily with exercises, with activities you do. And this is, again, let me remind you that please, there are 5 marks for you posting stuff about the course about Shakespeare online on your social media. So do it. These are easy pickings. 5 marks for everybody of you. Just post stuff on your social media accounts everywhere. Take a print screen and post it in our group. Okay, thank you very much. يعطيكم العافية ونشوفكم على خير إن شاء الله.